Any minute now, the suspected D.C. pipe bomber is going to appear in federal court for a detention hearing. This comes as we get new information now about the case from a Justice Department court filing. I'm Jillian Turner in Washington. Jackie, it is great to be with you for a second day.
It was so fun yesterday.
Quasi-holiday week.
We decided to do it again.
We did.
Yeah, happy to be back with you. I'm Jackie Heinrich. Sandra Smith and John Roberts are off today. This is America Reports. Federal prosecutors say 30-year-old Brian Cole confessed to placing pipe bombs outside the headquarters of the DNC and RNC. Meanwhile, New York Post is reporting Cole's lawyers say he's been diagnosed with autism and has obsessive-compulsive disorder, as they argue against pretrial detention for their client, saying he poses no threat to society.
Well, John Yoo is former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, a UC Berkeley law professor, and former law clerk for Justice Thomas. He joins me now. John, so we're going to see what happens any moment now. I want to read an excerpt from the new filing that is out today. This is call for 3. Defense attorneys write, Mr. Cole, the suspect, is an African-American adult who has been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder level 1 and with obsessive-compulsive disorder, defense attorneys wrote in a Tuesday filing ahead of this court hearing, arguing he poses no threat to society. What does the judge do with this information, this autism spectrum disorder level 1 and OCD?
These arguments are going to really set the foundation for some kind of claim they're going to make at trial or some kind of advantage that the defense attorneys are going to want to press in some kind of plea bargain negotiations, because this is not really going to help in this current procedure today, which is about should Mr. Cole be released on his own recognizance. Usually, you're not going to have someone released when they've committed some kind of crime of violence, like trying to blow up explosives in front of the Democratic and Republican National Committee headquarters. It's almost by definition, as the Justice Department says in its papers today, it's almost by definition a threat to society and the community.
Right.
The other question that, sorry.
No, go ahead, John. I was agreeing with
you.
The
other question that the court has to examine is whether there's any flight risk. But I think that the Justice Department is actually charging Mr. Cole with a series of crimes that implicate not just a threat to society, but also that he used explosives, that also he might have been engaging in terrorism. I can't see a judge releasing Mr. Cole just based on a claim of, well, maybe he's autistic, well, maybe he's got OCD disorder.
We're also getting a glimpse into a potential possible motive for the first time in this new DOJ filing. Cole apparently told FBI investigators he felt that somebody needed to speak up, and that was why he commenced with his plan. To me, anyway, as a non-lawyer, that statement seems to conflict with his insistence that he is not a political person and does not particularly care about politics in America. What do you think?
Jillian, being a non-lawyer means that you have the most important quality, common sense. That's way more important than being a lawyer. And if you read the filings, it's exactly as you say. At first, he says, well, first of all, we should recognize he waived his Miranda rights. He spoke to the FBI willingly. He went on for a long time. It's all on video, and we're going to see that presentation in court today from DOJ. But yeah, at times he says, I'm not political. I'm not really interested in politics. On the other hand, he said he was watching politics closely. Something snapped, and he says he wanted to get people's attention. And that's when he decided, relatively on the spur of the moment, this was not years in the planning, relatively on the spur of the moment, this is all taking place, if you remember, back in this fever time after the election, before the electoral count, and he just decided he wanted to blow these places up to make some kind of statement and shake people up, but he doesn't say much more than that.
John, why do you think his legal team, Cole's legal team, would have him pursue this line of argument that he's not a political guy? What possible sort of benefit do they see to that?
It's because the Justice Department is going to charge Mr. Cole with some kind of terrorism-related offense. And so maybe, offense. So the defense is going to be, oh, he's not interested in politics. There was no effort to try to scare the population, to send a political message, which are the requirements to show terrorism, and that he was just autistic, and so he just did this on the spur of the moment. He had no big political objective.
Just not interested in politics, just interested in killing and maiming people, I guess. John, we're going to have all eyes on this courtroom as folks arrive and leave there this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Julian. Happy New Year.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.